I'm Adriel Hepburn, and this is your Adventist News, a service of the South Bahamas Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. Coming up in the news, Bahamas Academy share of how bullying is wrong, a Lutherans Enjoy convention, and executive officers of local Adventist health professionals installed. These stories and more on this week's Adventist News. I'm Adriel Hepburn. Thanks for joining us for your Adventist News. Bahamas Academy launched an anti-bullying campaign this past Wednesday at a special chapel held for the entire student body. Dr. Elliston Ramming, criminologist and former ambassador to the United Nations, was the guest speaker. Dr. Ramming reminded the students that they are somebody no matter what people say.
Bullies are cold. Bullies are caring. Bullies are selfish. Bullies are selfless. Bullies are me-focused. Bullies are we-focused.
Powerful testimonies were shared throughout the chapel. Even Dr. Ramming shared of his bout of being bullied.
I had to get a job as a janitor after school. Got teased about that. Look at him, he got to be mopping and sweeping after school. Bullies were around since then. But guess what? If you are focused, you don't let that sort of stuff get to you. You rise above it. That's what focused people do.
Students also brought the audience to tears as they shared.
I do not bother anyone, but some students are very mean to me. Bullying hurts in many ways. I am hurt when I am bullied. Please stop bullying one another.
Tributes were performed by the elementary division. Their songs told of how God made all of us wonderfully. The elementary music teacher for the school, Nelson Bain, wrote the theme song called Bullying is Wrong.
At school, at play.
It was an emotionally charged event, and the impact on students and teachers was evident. We applaud the administration of Bahamas Academy and the organizers of the special Anti-Bullying Awareness Month for their efforts, and we encourage you to support Bahamas Academy as they climax their events for this month with a color run on Sunday, March 31st, beginning at 6:30 a.m., leaving from their Marshall Road campus. Registration is required for this event. The Seventh-day Adventist Church on the island of Eleuthera is alive and well. Under the leadership of Pastor Manasseh Sims and the Board of Elders, scores of individuals from Rock Sound, Tarpon Bay, Gregorytown, and The Bluff gathered at the James Cistern Church for convention. The speaker for the occasion was Pastor T. Basil Sturp, Ministerial Director for the South Bahamas Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. Pastor Sturp addressed the theme for the convention, Christ, Our Only Hope, using the stories of Jesus calming the storm in Mark chapter 4 and the miracle of Jesus turning water into wine in John chapter 2. Music during the convention was provided by the Combined Youth Choir, a male group from the Bluff Church called the Inspirationals, and an array of musicians that played the trumpet, keyboards, and guitars. The Sabbath evening session was spent creating a strategic plan and vision document for the island, and on Sunday, Pastors Sturp and Sims conducted an assessment on our church buildings on the island. Special commendations are extended to Pastor Manasseh Sims, his wife Kenesha, the elders, officers, and members for the outstanding job they continue to do to advance the kingdom of God on the island of Eleuthera. The Adventist Health Professionals Association were installed in a service held at the Bethany Adventist Church last Saturday. The executive officers gathered to be committed in service. The president of the South Bahamas Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, Pastor Kenny DeVoe, led out in the installation service where the AHPA executive officers were charged to be mindful in executing their mission to fostering strong bonds among Seventh-day Adventist physicians and other healthcare professionals worldwide through education, promotion, evaluation, research, and financial support. Among the executive officers for the period 2019 through 2020 are President Rose Cooper, Vice President Erica Joseph, Treasurer Nurse Donna Moss, Physician Liaison Officer Dr. Alpheus Alec, Nurse Liaison Officer Shakita Meadows, and other officers including Georgette Bain, Agatha Nottage, Justina Knowles, Priada Gibbs, and Dr. Monique Mitchell. The charge was well received by the healthcare officers, and they are committed to greater service.
You see Brie over there though, you know how big back, right? And she always trying to be better than the rest of us, bro.
Tell me what's staying about you, she shaped like a golden pin.
Good afternoon, bro. You go get a
Bullying is a crime. It can affect anyone
In any place,
at any time.
if you or someone you know is a victim of any form of bullying,
Please do not hesitate to reach out to a trusted adult.
such as a parent, counselor, or teacher,
Call the Bahamas Crisis Center hotline at 242-0922.
328-0922. This
This is where bullying ends.
Welcome back to your Adventist News. You're invited to support the men's Concert for a Cause on Sunday, March 31st at the Hillview Church at 7:30 p.m. You are asked to bring a love offering which will be used to assist with the medical expenses of our brother Sam Markland of the Grantstown Adventist Church. Artists will include the Adventist Men's Chorale, Grantstown Church Choir, Colin Major, Teachers Truth, among others. On Monday, April 1st, 2019, the Health Ministries Department of our conference will be hosting a public health lecture at 7 p.m. at Hillview Adventist Church. Topics for discussion include suicide prevention and symptoms of depression. The speakers will be Dr. Carlos Fayard from Loma Linda University, Dr. Tracy King from Sandlands Rehabilitation Center, and other speakers including greetings from the Minister of Health for the Bahamas. All members and community friends are invited to attend. And on Wednesday, April 3rd, the Health Ministries Department of the Atlantic Caribbean Union will be hosting a training session for the I Want to Live Healthy tool on the headquarters at Gladstone Road at 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. All health leaders, pastors, departmental directors, and Adventist health professionals are invited to RSVP for this training. Call 341-5153 for more information. The Youth Department will host the Agape Feast, its quarterly Adventist youth service on Friday, April 5th at 8 p.m. at the H.D. Coburn Gym on the former Bahamas Academy campus on Wolf Road. The joint service will be a communion service for the youth under the theme Forgiven. All youth are asked to wear the color red. The youth and children from our local churches will be in outreach in their communities on the afternoon of Saturday, April 6th from 5:30 p.m. until. The objective of Mission Transform 242 is to take the AY program for that day to the home of a missing youth or member. All youth and children are asked to wear the blue Global Youth and Children's Day shirts. As the Seventh-day Adventist Church continues to find new ways to minister to a changing world, it is important for its leaders to come aside and evaluate how effective our methods are with regard to fulfilling the Gospel Commission. To this end, the Ministerial Department of South Bahamas Conference will host a special training program for all church leaders April 12th through 14th, 2019 at the National Training Agency on Gladstone Road. This gathering is designed to give all attendees the opportunity to participate in relevant workshops, share in meaningful discussions, and receive specific training in specific areas of service to the church. Guest representative for the plenary sessions will be Dr. Gordon Jones. For more information on these events and more, visit the conference website at southbahamasconference.org, where you can view the news as well as other programming, view the weekly logos, or feel free to call our headquarters at 242-341-4021.
Blood contains 4 major components, which are red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and plasma. Sickle cell anemia is caused when there is a disorder of the blood. This disorder occurs when abnormal hemoglobin or red blood cells are introduced into the blood. Hemoglobin is responsible for transporting oxygen throughout the body, and if there is little or no oxygen, then tissue and organs can suffer severe damage. The normal shape of a red blood cell is biconcave and disc-shaped, which gives the red blood cells a large surface area, allowing for increased absorption of oxygen. Normal red blood cells can smoothly pass through the capillaries as they are transported to organs. However, the red blood cells of a sickle cell patient lack these qualities, leaving the red blood cells crescent-shaped. Due to this unusual shape, it is much harder for their red blood cells to successfully pass through blood vessels and transport oxygen properly. This shape makes for a painful passage as red blood cells try to force their way through, causing blockages, sometimes even causing tissue or organ damage. Tissue with improper circulation suffer from damage from lack of oxygen. Symptoms of sickle cell anemia include lung and heart injury, eye disease, fatigue, frequent infections, painful swelling of hands and feet, delayed growth in infants and children, and delayed puberty in teenagers, and episodes of pain. Most complications with sickle cell anemia are treated as they occur, which includes antibiotics, blood transfusions, and pain-relieving medication. There is no cure for most people with sickle cell anemia, but treatments can relieve pain and help prevent problems associated with the disease. Be sure to get plenty calcium-rich foods such as low-fat milk and yogurt, leafy green vegetables, calcium-fortified foods such as soy milk, orange juice, and tofu. Also add healthy, high-calorie foods to your diet such as dried fruits and nuts. This has been Parisha Ferguson with your health tips courtesy of Adventist Television. And remember, God wants us to prosper and be in good health.
Let's go now to the Adventist News Network for our news feature from around the world.
Thank you so much for joining us this week.
First in the news, the Adventist Development and Relief Agency, or ADRA, is working to aid communities in Indonesia after massive flooding in the province of Papua.
With roadways underwater, ADRA aid workers have been delayed getting to affected communities. Currently, ADRA staff and volunteers in local areas have been mobilized to conduct a market survey of available goods and prices.
On March 16th, flash floods and mudslides hit the eastern Indonesian province of Papua near the sub-district of Jayapura. The Adventist Church in the Southern Asia Pacific region sent this report.
Thunderous sounds of boulders, massive logs, and torrential rains run down the mountainous regions of Sentani and Doyobaru in Papua, Saturday evening of March 16, leaving 104 people dead, 60 missing, 74 injured, and displaced more than 4,000 people in what is known to be the deadliest and most devastating landslide that ever happened in the province. Local reports said over 350 houses were destroyed and 2 main bridges were heavily damaged, making land transportation a greater challenge. Joint efforts from local government units and private sectors who continue to assess situation shows over 11,700 households in total were greatly affected by the calamity.
Kami ada di dalam rumah. Kita sudah baru mau tidur, tiba-tiba air langsung masuk. Tidak ada hitungan menit, kita mau keluar, air sudah sampai di dada.
Adventist institutions situated in Sentani and Doyobaru were also greatly affected. The Adventist Aviation Indonesia, the Papua Adventist Academy, the Perkumpulan Pendidikan Adventist Papua, and the newly established Adventist Health Center in Doyo were submerged in 4-feet-high mud and sand after flash floods subsided. Adventist locals, missionaries, and personnel share their experiences after this devastating encounter.
Essentially, there was a landslide up about 3,000 feet elevation behind this campus, and that landslide went into a valley and created a dam. And then the water built up behind that with heavy rains on the mountain in the night. And so that then came down in a torrential force down the valley and it basically kind of ended here at Adventist Aviation. So we have areas that are up to about 8 feet under rocks and mud and sand. It's wiped out about 1 kilometer of our perimeter wall that we have here. It's knocked out our hangar, it's knocked out about 9 of our houses. The damage is quite extensive. Here in this hangar where we're at right now, we had about 3 inches or 10 centimeters of mud just caked on the floor. But thankfully we didn't have much damage other than the water damage from that. The biggest issue that we have is really our runway. It's completely damaged. It's under between 1 to 5 feet of rock and mud and logs and all kinds of debris. If we have full-time heavy equipment, an excavator, a bulldozer going, it's probably 3 months of work. So it's going to be quite some time before we can get that cleaned up.
Adventist Aviation Indonesia reported an estimated damage to properties of $5 million to restore regular operations. Restoration will take over 5 months to put everything back up and running.
Sebelumnya inilah dinding yang kami punyai untuk melindungi sekolah ini, tetapi setelah datang banjir, inilah yang terjadi. Air datang setinggi ini, setinggi bahu dan menghancurkan segala sesuatu yang ada, termasuk dinding bagian utara ini. Dan inilah bencana yang terbesar semasa sekolah ini ada. Inilah bencana yang terbesar yang pernah melanda.
The Papua Adventist Academy was severely damaged, destroying almost everything except the church. The academy has not issued any reports as to its estimated amount of casualties. Both students and teachers are working hand in hand to identify the severity of the damage and how they can put things back together to restart classes.
Saya mengharapkan bantuan dari Tuhan dan Tuhan pasti akan membantu kita karena ini bukan pekerjaan saya pribadi, ini adalah pekerjaan dan Tuhan akan menggerakkan siapa saja yang akan membantu pekerjaan ini.
Locals said that flooding and landslides happened in the area before, but this is the most disastrous in recent years. Reports said that human activities are becoming more and more active in the mountains, resulting to more frequent and greater flash floods. With the influence and massive work of the church in this region, suggestions to relocate Adventist Aviation Indonesia and the academy to locations away from landslide-prone areas seem to be a necessity. Currently, both institutions halted their operations due to heavy damage. The Adventist Aviation Indonesia, though, coordinated with the provincial airport of Sentani to have access to its runway and hangar when AAI needs to do operations.
Kami semua memuji Tuhan, ya. Kami semua memuji Tuhan oleh karena kami dapat selamat dari bencana ini.
Locals and Adventists in the region are all recovering from the aftermath of this unanticipated event. Their prayer that soon everything will be back to its place and their mission and operations will continue to its track to serve the community and the many people they try to reach in far-flung areas.
That's it for our Adventist news from the South Bahamas Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. We thank you for sharing your news stories and upcoming events with us, and we encourage you to continue by emailing them to sbcadventistnews@gmail.com or by calling our media department at 242-341-4021. For rebroadcast of the Adventist news, please visit the conference website, southbahamasconference.org, or on our Facebook page. On behalf of our production team of Adventist Television Channel 658, thank you for watching this week's broadcast. I'm Adriel Hepburn for the SBC Media Network. Have a happy Sabbath.